We're joined now by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Welcome, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Chris, how big of a threat is Houston to Golden State?
I am so impressed with the Rockets. They are the biggest threat, not only in the West, but in the NBA to the Warriors. Now, we'll see what Cleveland does when they get Isaiah Thomas. But for now, no question. And I'm not writing off your Spurs. I've learned to respect Popovich and all the Spurs can do. So I'm not totally writing them off. But there's no doubt in my mind that Houston is the number one threat. Here's why. We think of Mike D'Antoni, we're going to think they don't play defense.
Right.
You haven't been watching if you think they don't play defense. They're tied for fifth in the league in defensive efficiency with Chris Paul, P.J. Tucker, Luke Mute, Clint Capella protects the rim. Mm-hmm. They've got Trevor Ariza. They can defend now. They got some good defenders. But for all that said, you're only going to slow down Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, but so much, if you can slow them down at all. So it's going to come down to you being able to score with them. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think the Spurs fall short, Skip. I don't think they can score with Golden State. Both Golden State and Houston this year are in the top 5 offensive rated teams of all time. So they can shoot the three almost as well as Golden State. I think they actually do have the best backcourt in the league, not starting backcourt, but when you throw in Eric Gordon off the bench giving you 18 points a game, I give them the best backcourt. Chris Paul gives them a mid-range game, so they have some, they're not as predictable, shoot the three or get in the paint. So I think he'll be huge for them in the playoffs. Here's I had 2 concerns about them. One is Mike D'Antoni. As great a coach as he is when he's in the right situation.
Regular season.
And what hurts him in the playoffs or has hurt him is his lack of attention to detail. They had some great series, his sons with the Spurs. Sure. I mean, great series. And it always seemed to be at the key moment, a missed rotation, a lack of execution, an ill-advised turnover. Mm-hmm. Your players getting off the bench. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Robert Ory, that cheap shot.
But the Spurs tell their guys, do not get off the bench. Yeah. D'Antoni just didn't say it. So those little things, that matters in the playoffs when the teams are close.
Yes.
And so I think that, and then I gotta say this, as great as they are, James Harden and Chris Paul, we have seen both of them falter in the clutch. Now, Chris has had good clutch moments, but he's had some horrible ones. 2014, Game 5 OKC, 2 turnovers in the last 17 seconds. Utah last year, he averaged 27 points in the first 6 games last year against Utah. Game 7, what he had 13. I mean, James Harden. I mean, Game 6 last year.
We don't talk about that.
We don't. I mean, how you get 10 points? Didn't even look like he wanted to shoot the ball. So maybe both of them together, they'll bolster each other, whether it's confidence, whatever. But those are some concerns, but I'm still going to say they're the top threat.
I agree. And the thing that makes them tough, what happens is that for most teams, when your starting point guard goes out, who can initiate offense? Well, Chris Paul or James Harden will always be on the floor. One of those guys will always be on the floor. So they will never be in a situation have to worrying about who's going to initiate the offense. Chris Paul has been phenomenal. Maybe he really did need a change of scenery because he's looked like a different Chris Paul. And when he's on the court, they have yet to lose with Chris Paul in the lineup. They're going to be tough to beat.
Golden State.
And the thing is, Skip, is that now they can throw Ariza, they can throw Tucker, they can throw Mute, they can throw multiple bodies at Kevin Durant, not just Ariza. So I love what they do offensively, second-ranked efficiency, 6th in defense, 3-point shooting. We know they're going to get about 40 up a game. All they're hoping to do is hit 15 or 16 of them, and they're going to be good. They're good at the free throw line, Skip. They get 82% of the defensive rebounds. You don't think, because really you only think about Capella, but James Harden, and then you got the 2 and the 3 assist people in the NBA on the same team. I don't know if that's ever been done, and we might not ever see it again. They're the biggest threat. The question, hey, the Warriors might be the biggest threat to the Rockets. While you bumping them, Skip Bayless, but we're not even talking about the Spurs because they not going to do nothing, and you going to like it.
You writing the Spurs off, that's...
It's so dangerous, but I love it.
That is
because you're going to have to eat those words, too. So did I just hear you pick the Rockets to win the West? Like you've leaped over onto that bandwagon? Because I think you just did. I think that's just what you said.
I said
You
maybe the
said-
Warriors
that's
are the
what you
biggest
said. So
threat
wouldn't
to
that
the
indicate
Rockets.
that the,
It's close.
that the
I don't-
Rockets are now the front
Give him a
runner?
few weeks.
Okay.
He
But you
might
know,
go there.
got a guy in the Eastern Conference.
No, yeah. I'm sure they're all cowards.
But you probably hope, if you're a Cavs fan, you hope it's Houston?
The way Bron played right now,
Better shot against Houston.
bring Larry Bird and Michael Jordan back the way Bron played and put him on the Warriors.
Yeah, right. So I want to
Calm down.
I want to congratulate my friend Chris Broussard because he went all around the bush and he came around to the bottom line to this discussion, which is the truth is, as much as I love to watch both of these players in the regular season, James Harden and Chris Paul, despite the fact that James Harden is putting up numbers right now that have never been put up before, 3-point step back numbers, it's just mind-blowing what he is doing so far. We're not yet to even Christmas. But despite all that, neither of these players have ever shown championship mettle in the clutch in the playoffs. Neither one of them. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to disrespect they're great players. They are great players. But James Harden, as a starter, because he wasn't a starter in Oklahoma City, but in Houston, his playoff record is 20-25. In CP3, and I used to call him CP0 because 0 rings, but again, I love what he's done so far, and I get your stats, and I watched last night. He wasn't good. He was great last night. He is 33-43 in the postseason. And both players have had huge flameouts, and it started with James all the way back with the baby Thunder when they went to Miami for games 3 and 4. Remember, he was APB out on James Harden in games 3 and 4. And again, they were just kids playing against a grown man in LeBron, and LeBron broke through, God bless, and he won his first title against Kevin Durant. And where was James Harden? And then Russell Westbrook had one disastrous first half in game 3 in Miami. But the point is, again and again, James Harden has had these flameouts where you say, what was that? When they lost in the conference finals in 5 games, remember the closeout game, he just disappeared in the closeout. It went 2 for 11. And then you don't want to hear about game 6 last year, but that was horrendous. That's at home.
He was all-time bad.
That was at home, and you shoot 2 for 11, and you lose 114-75 on your home floor when you could force a game 7 back in San Antonio. Right. And then Chris Paul, he had one moment in the sun against my Spurs. When, remember, on the final regular season night of the season, the Spurs go to New Orleans and blow a game that dropped them from the 2 seed to the 6 seed, and they wound up having to play Game 7 of Round 1 at Staples. And Chris Paul was sensational because he looked like he'd pulled his hamstring, and he came back in and made the shot of shots over Tim Duncan to win it. And what did they proceed to do? Chris couldn't play the first 2 games because of his pulled hamstring against James Harden's Rockets. They still won. They go up 3-1, and they blow it with Chris Paul. You can't blow that. And then James Harden sort of benefits from that. But both of them, to your point, maybe if you combine your strengths, you can cancel each other's weakness in the end in the postseason, because I'm not sure they're made of that stuff. Whatever that stuff is, that you have to go win a championship or carry a team to a championship. I just discount all these numbers. As sensational as they are, I don't believe them yet.
Well, last year with Harden, it's one thing if you're just missing shots. That can happen to anybody.
Right.
Harden looked like he just didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
It was he just, like it was mental.
Was he
like,
hurt?
Like he was, I don't think he was hurt. I just think it was, he just froze up or something. Like, and so we'll see, like you said, if Chris's presence can give him confidence or whatever it is he needs.
And vice
versa. You're right.
versa.
That's the one thing. Yeah, Chris, I don't know if I would say he froze up in these moments, but he hasn't delivered for whatever reason.
Okay, and I'm going to give Chris this excuse. He's 6 feet tall. And sometimes in big playoff moments, you're a victim of your stature. You're just not big enough to go create a shot.
Yeah.
Or although Doc used to just scream at Chris, just shoot it. Because sometimes when he goes selfish, when he
needs to do that more.
And early on, when he was in New Orleans, trust me on this, because I was close to these Spurs teams, when they had to deal with Chris Paul, he was a force of nature in New Orleans, where they were afraid of him because he didn't have dog, he had bulldog in him. They were afraid that they just couldn't control him and contain him.
There were some in the Clippers organization that felt when Westbrook, remember that game, 2 turnovers last 17 minutes? They felt like 17 seconds. Westbrook's athleticism over the course of a series just got to him. It was just too much. Now, he won't face that against Golden State or San Antonio, so we'll see if that makes a difference. But
So I'm here to tell you the Spurs are going to win
Spurs
the
ain't gonna
West.
do nothing.
They're going to win the West.
they're not.
And it's going to come down to
They wanna play
Spurs
the conference
versus
finals.
it'll be Spurs versus Houston in round 2 in the semifinals, and they will find a way to figure out how to stop
Put something
all
on
this.
it.
Yeah.
Put something on it.
It happened last year.
Put something. I ain't talking about last year.
I'll put my pride on it because they're going to win. They're up 23 in the third quarter
You're
of
not
game 1 at Golden State in the conference
You're
finals.
not that prideful.
What would have happened? What would have happened if Zaza Pachulia doesn't happen? We're having a different conversation because the Spurs would be the defending champs.
No, they didn't race you.
They
Walk
would.
y'all down.
Yes,
Can't
they
give you
would.
that.
No, they didn't walk you down.
Huh?
there's no.
Walk 'em
I
down.
still-
Y'all had a 22-point lead. You had a 22-point lead at your place, and they beat you by
Okay,
10.
do you remember what happened on opening night a year ago at Golden State?
Yeah, gave y'all false hope.
False hope.
Yep.
They blew them out by, what was it,
that
like
was
by 30?
opening night.
Opening
I mean,
night.
the
I'm just
first
saying.
game with Kevin Durant.
Okay, but Kevin,
they weren't
but
comfortable.
And then what happened?
They love playing in that arena. They
If-
love Oracle.
If the Spurs get past Houston, there's no way they beat Golden State.
There's a big way.
And they're
No
going to
way.
probably, right now, they would play Golden State in the second round.
Right now, but it's going to switch
You
because
think Golden State's going to get the top seed?
well, Golden State will
I think
they'll
Houston's
track
gonna get it.
down Houston.
I think Houston will get it.
Don't worry. We ain't worried about that. You know, we sitting pretty over it. We fat cats over here in the
Yeah,
East.
we'll take them as they come. Whoever, if it's Golden State first, we got to deal with. We'll deal with it.
Y'all ain't gonna deal with
So
nothing.
who do you have in the West, Shannon? You jumping on Houston's bandwagon?
You got Houston to win it all, right?
I don't have San Antonio winning.
Well,
Y'all not
Spurs
getting
and
past the
Houston
second
play
round.
tomorrow night. So.
All right, who you want to put some on that?
Yeah, I got it. You name it.
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
James Harden finna go by 40. 40 and 12 on y'all.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few segments from the newest show on FS1, First Things First, with Chris Carter and Nick Wright.